Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's 10th anniversary for the Centerville Immigration Forum. Bienvenidos a todos. Gracias por estar con nosotros. Estamos muy orgullosos para que estén aquí. We are, really excited to have this event tonight. While it's a little different from in the past, unfortunately, we're not around tables eating food together and being able to be there in person. This event actually has a plus side because it's a little bit more accessible to folks. We have folks from all across Virginia, all across the region, joining us tonight to celebrate the strength and resilience of immigrants here in our community. Just a couple of housekeeping things for tonight. One, if you haven't already done so, please share the Facebook or YouTube live links with other people so that they can join in tonight's celebration. When you do post about tonight's celebration, make sure to hashtag CIF turns 10. Again, that's hashtag CIF turns 10. The comments and description for tonight's event also include the Centerville Immigration Forum's social media accounts, so you can tag and let folks know what's going on tonight. Other housekeeping rules is just like many other virtual events, there might be some technical difficulties. If you yourself are experiencing any internet connectivity issues, just try to reconnect. If we experience any issues and we go out, just try to reconnect with us in 1 or 2 minutes as we'll try to get back online as soon as possible. Either way, we are recording tonight's event, so anyone who misses any part of it will be able to enjoy and see this later on in case they miss any parts. In the past, we've had the dinner in the fall, and while we can't sit around the table, we can do something just as good, which is show everyone what's going around in our dinner tables tonight. So, we want to encourage everyone to take a quick photo of what you're eating tonight and share it online with the hashtag #DinnerAtHome. We have an example here that's going to go up on the screen just to give you some inspiration. Now, some of you may have cooked dinner from a recipe booklet that we put together that includes recipes from the Nebac region of Guatemala, where so many of our members migrated from. The recipe booklet and a discussion guide to learn more about the history and culture of the Nebac will be sent to anyone who donates $150 in honor of the Centerville Immigration Forum's 10th anniversary. We're here tonight to celebrate such an amazing and inspiring organization. At this time, I'd like to introduce a short video to share the Centerville Immigration Forum's current programs, recent accomplishments, and where the organization is heading into the future.
Welcome and greetings. Bienvenido y saludos. I'm Carol Robinson, Interim Executive Director for Centerville Immigration Forum. Thank you for joining us for our 10th anniversary. Our mission at Centerville Immigration Forum is to implement sustainable programs that provide immigrants in need with the means to improve their lives, to become more integrated in our community, to improve communications and cooperation among and with others who are also involved in our mission, and build community recognition of our strength in diversity. We are celebrating our 10-year milestone by looking ahead as we carry out this mission of Centerville Immigration Forum.
One of the main programs of Centerville Immigration Forum is the Centerville Labor Resource Center, a safe space for the community members to wait for work for the day. We provide security with job agreements where both worker and employer have to sign in order to prevent wage theft. Another program provided by Centerville Immigration Forum is English classes for learners of other languages, or ESOL. As many of you may know, most of our community is already bilingual. They speak Ixil and Spanish, so calling it English as a second language would not be appropriate for this particular group of people. Another program we have is skills training, and this goal is for community members to expand their job skills. Yes, this will facilitate them in finding jobs through the Labor Center, but also just in general, it will help them grow professionally. Another program offered by Centerville Immigration Forum is Accompaniment. This is a program that started a few years ago that ties back to the transportation issues that a lot of our community members face. Not being able to have your own form of transportation, it limits you. So now that they are able to access rides to appointments, whether it be legal or health related, that is very empowering for them to be able to go to these places to finish tasks that they wouldn't have been able to do if they didn't have the transportation to get there.
We as an organization are consistently listening and working with our community members to ensure that they are not left behind, to ensure that we stand in support.
We're proud to have been part of a multi-year effort with the Drive Virginia Forward Coalition, the Virginia Coalition for Immigrant Rights, community members, and countless other individuals and partners to advocate for driver's licenses for undocumented residents of Virginia, with legislation being enacted during the 2020 General Assembly session. When this law takes effect on January 1st, nearly 300,000 state residents will be newly eligible to apply for driver privilege cards. In addition, our recent advocacy resulted in the introduction of a bill to provide all residents of Virginia additional protections against wage theft. We hope this legislation will receive further consideration in 2021.
2020 has been hard, especially for some of our community members who are left behind from stimulus packages, who have no access to unemployment benefits, who have no access to rental assistance. And we, as the Centerville Immigration Forum, are always listening and conducting outreach for our community members to ensure that we are providing the support in these dire times.
We did close for 2 months over the summer and spring, which was really difficult for all of us. But we did focus our time on other things. We did some emergency assistance throughout the summer. We did food distributions, which came about by our president of the Directiva, Jerónimo Ramirez. He came to us as well as the Liga Maya about organizing food distributions for our community. So that's when we started reaching out to employers and donors about getting food donations, so we were able to pack bags of beans and rice and maseca and distribute it to the community.
We stand side by side with the community as we carry out our mission. Our members, partners, volunteers, funders, donors, and everyone who supports the work of Centerville Immigration Forum. Thank you all for your contributions to the community and to this organization. We couldn't do this work without you.
For your continued support, enthusiasm, and contributions to our efforts to have an inclusive community. Thank you. Gracias.
Such an inspiring video, and so great to see the amazing and transformational work that the Centerville Immigration Forum does for so many here in our community. Just like any other language accessible event, we'd like to practice actually a little bit more about the community here tonight. If I could please have Loriano, John, Geronimo, and myself on here. We're going to actually practice with some folks some language translations for the Ixil people. So just some information before we start. About 88% of the Centerville Immigration Forum's members were born in Central America. Their first language is Spanish or Ixil, the Mayan language spoken in the Nebac region of Guatemala. As an organization, the Centerville Immigration Forum is working to be more consistently multilingual. We'd like to share some phrases in Spanish or Ixil, things that you might say if you were sitting down at the table tonight if we were meeting in person. A couple of us will practice along, and you can practice here at home. You can take the video of you practicing on your phone, share it on social media, and the event hashtag CIF turns 10 and hashtag trilingual. So we're going to try it out right now. I'll say a word in English. John will say it in Spanish. Our other two friends here, Laureano and Geronimo, will practice in Ixil, and we can all practice together. So let's start with something simple. Hello.
Hola. Hola.
Hola.
Kamtale, kamtale,
Kamtale.
kamtale.
Kamtale. Welcome to the event.
Bienvenido al evento. Bienvenido al evento.
Bienvenido al evento.
Acha bitule, tunim laqye. Acha bitule,
Achabitule.
tunim laqye.
Achabitule tulim la'ye. Enjoy.
Disfruta. Disfruta.
Disfruta.
Kolkutsi, kolkutsi, kolkutsi.
Kutsi. Thank you.
Gracias. Gracias.
Gracias.
Tantish, tantish,
Tantish. Thank you.
Gracias. Gracias. Gracias.
Tantish, tantish,
Tantish. You're welcome.
De nada. De nada.
De nada.
Yeshkam, yeshkam,
Yeshkam. Thank you so much for joining me for this part. Muchas gracias. You know, it's been really challenging these past few months for so many people, particularly immigrants who have been disproportionately affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. The Centerville Immigration Forum has worked with its partners and will help respond and continue to respond to the emergency needs of the local community. Any donation you make tonight will help support the future of the Centerville Immigration Forum and all its programs and services. Now we'd like to show a short video to recognize our sponsors for tonight.
Welcome once again to Centerville Immigration Forum's 10th anniversary celebration. My name is Rosemary Theurer. I'm a member of the board for CIF as well as chair of the committee that's put together this event. Our goal is to raise $25,000 from our fundraising campaign that started on October 14th and ends tonight. At this time, I'd like to thank those who've already given $1,000 or more to the campaign. They are Anthem Healthcare Plus, Jerry and Alice Foltz, Micah Gulati, Craig Kendall, Mary Suppley, and Dale and Rosemary Theurer. I also want to thank everyone else that has donated to CIF. Your donations are very much appreciated, particularly during this time of a pandemic. I hope you really enjoy this informative and fun event. And if you can, please consider donating to CIF so that they can continue doing the work that is so desperately needed in our community. Thank you and have a good night.
We've currently raised $19,500 towards the $25,000 goal that Rosemary talked about. We'd like to acknowledge several recent sponsors in addition to those that Rosemary mentioned, including Steve Webb and an anonymous donor. If you'd like to make a donation tonight, text CIF10, that's the number 10, CIF10 to 44321. I'll repeat that one more time. CIF10 to 44321, or go to the link provided in the description, which is bit.ly/give410. I'll repeat that one more time. bit.ly/give410. Now we have our featured speaker for the night, Ivania Castillo. Ivania is a resident of Northern Virginia. She's actively involved in the fight for immigrant rights and is a board member of Casa in Action.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much to the to the Center Immigrant Forums for inviting me tonight. I'm here to send a message to our community to go and vote in November the 3rd, 2020. Buenas noches a todos. Estoy acá para invitarlos a que salgan a votar. Es muy importante el voto latino de nuestra comunidad, tanto de aquí del estado de Virginia como de todo el país. Es importante que votes por correo, que votes temprano, que lo hagas en noviembre 3 del 2020. Hoy es el debate entre Donald Trump y Joe Biden. Te invito a que salgas a votar porque es muy importante sacar de la Casa Blanca a un presidente que ha sido muy racista con nuestra comunidad, que ha causado muchísimo dolor con nuestra comunidad, que nos ha señalado a nuestros hermanos mexicanos, que les ha dicho violadores, ladrones. Esta es nuestra oportunidad, después de 4 años de dolor, de sufrimiento, de venir a invitar a toda nuestra comunidad, de toda la nación, que salga a votar. Quiero mandar un mensaje muy importante para aquí, para el estado de Virginia. Tenemos al senador Mark Warner, tenemos a Connolly, Jerry Connolly, también hay que votar por ellos. Tenemos a Rachel, también tenemos que votar por ellos. Y el mensaje es muy claro: los únicos que han luchado por nosotros son los demócratas. Vota por Joe Biden, Kamala Harris en estas elecciones del 2020. Nuestra comunidad ha pagado un alto precio en las manos de los republicanos. Como sabemos, la muerte de Claudia González no puede quedar en vano. Una joven guatemalteca que, tratando de alcanzar el sueño americano, como muchas personas como ella, atravesando ese río Bravo, el río de la muerte, murieron en el proceso, atravesándose la frontera entre México y los Estados Unidos. Nuestros hermanos, nuestros niños latinos en estos momentos están en jaulas, en centros de detención, están en cárceles sin poder ver a sus familias. Tenemos 545 niños que no han encontrado sus padres. ¿Cómo es posible que vamos a permitir 4 años más del presidente Donald Trump y de Mike Spear? No puede ser posible. Nuestra comunidad se tiene que levantar, tiene que salir a votar. Hemos esperado 4 años de lucha, hemos esperado pacientes, pero también no lo vamos a quedar con los brazos cruzados. Esta es nuestra oportunidad para alzar nuestras voces, para salir a votar. Los que tengan la oportunidad de hacerlo ahora, que lo hagan ahora. Los que tengan la oportunidad de hacerlo por correo, que lo hagan por correo. Las personas que quieran ir a votar en noviembre 3, que lo hagan. Lo importante es que salgamos a votar. Aquí en Prince William nosotros hemos logrado mucho. Quitamos la ley 287G. Eso se debe a que en el 2019 los demócratas alcanzaron todos los puestos aquí en Virginia. Por eso pudimos hacer un cambio. Por primera vez vamos a tener en muchos años las licencias de conducir en el 2020, en enero. Nuestra comunidad va a poder por primera vez venir y tener sus licencias. Le doy las gracias a Bacalao, Casa en Acción, Virginia Forward. Le doy las gracias a Nakata, a esta organización tan bonita de Centerville, de inmigrantes. Le doy las gracias a todas las organizaciones, a Elizabeth Guzmán, a Kathy Tran, a Scott Servet, a todos los que lucharon y estuvieron ahí al frente. Gracias y sigamos adelante en esta lucha.
Good evening, everyone. I have a clear message that I would like to invite everyone after tonight to watch the debate. Not only watch the debate, but go out and vote. Either go out and vote in mail or in person, early voting. Our community has suffered so much in these past 4 years, with individuals dying crossing the borders. More than 545 children still have not been reunited with their families. We cannot permit another 4 years of this to happen. 4 years where our community has been under attack, being called rapists, murderers. We cannot let this to continue. We are here. I am here to send a message to encourage you guys to vote. And also, voting has consequences. Because of the elections in Prince William County, we were able to achieve and eliminate 287Gs. Because of we went out to vote, we changed the legislator, and now we have driving access for the immigrant community. And I want to thank Delegate Guzman, Senator Scott Sullivan, Delegate Kathy Tran for making this happening. There's a lot on the ballot this upcoming election. We must vote for Congressman Jerry Connolly. We must vote for Senator Warner, and we must vote for Kasim as well. Thank you. Thank you, the Centerville Immigration Forum. Thank you, Bacalao. Thank you, Drive Virginia Forward. Casa in Action. Thank you for all your work that you have been doing, and of course for this wonderful organization, the Centerville Immigration Forum, for all the work that you have done. Thank you. Gracias, Ivania.
Gracias.
Thank you so much for the wonderful words, Ivania. We really appreciate the amazing work that you, the members of the Centerville Immigration Forum, and so many others do to ensure that change happens in our community for so many immigrants. Again, I just want to remind everyone, if you'd like to make a donation to support this important transformative work, please text CIF10 to 44321 or go to the link that I mentioned before, bit.ly/give410. Now, tonight we're going to be transitioning now to the Inspiration Awards. But before we get there, I'd love to show a video of traditional Guatemalan weavings that each honoree that will be honored tonight will receive. So we'd like to transition that now.
Asla yolon jamboho tu uhe vila ati ube ohimal lakeo ati tes ihapne ati ve lakeo wik up ati ve lakahe tuwi as tatkuban tutanu vila uba mal snatch bal tet ama uba lakai nukuk kate la yolon jamboho ti ida ube Mitale ni yolon tiu upunta directiva ni ekoni viu akone watskate hitin chatik as uvila venital sila ekon ivi akone tiu upunta directiva il alta uvenitale uvenekilp en sikuvats en it up al uveno kit up en uvelat antuche sikuvats en yek al uvela kokse en tukun ukul uve no kilp en la kokse in tit en as at tit en chepom umal kam uvanu kebe umal kam no kusehit en ubayela soti Tandish sete chone kale tandish chone kale tiu uchin uba vani ekoni vi ubani opsan titak ubani molon uli tol ubani opsan uku katine vatinka tol ayo ubani kal en tandish as ave tu vila un parte ani tukkate uba tiu yabe de ato tu uvila mal kalse vila ay uyabe de milon kuban de 2020 cero uvila as uvila ato an vila ato vila ato tu ay ni kalvete 2020 la yolon jame ko hodi ka sole de o mansa o ka sole vila o aho ai uwe akpas as chambe de kahe vila chani yolon jame ko tio katala to ka sole o ka to vila in tulbe tu almikai o kual almikai ni tulbe ka chizinde ka ende ka to vila ka to sole chambe to katala choe vila aksesul chame choe vila ni fikan chame to almika as chame ko me ni te katuli kale au ka come asan su chame to abol vila ka chute chame to abol bane ve at via savit sula chamatnan vila ati uvete to tename ve neva y Echkatino kutinane vila at el cavolcano ene as akvedo katalakse o katalakvite vila vedo katalakvite vila ako hitan kuente kusila ko hitiliti hasta antikse Ichche Lavale.
Right here is one of the weavings that Maria made and described in her video. A longer video about the weavings will be available on the Centerville Immigration Forum's YouTube channel next week. Now, I'd like to bring up John Cano to introduce the first recipient of tonight's Inspiration Award.
Buenas noches a cada uno de ustedes y gracias por estar aquí con nosotros celebrando nuestro 10º aniversario como el Centerville Immigration Forum. Yo tengo el honor de ahora presentar y hablar de las personas que van a recibir ese reconocimiento, que es la directiva. La directiva es el equipo que nos maneja esta organización. Son donde ellos guían a nosotros como una organización. Si no fuera por la comunidad, nosotros no estaríamos aquí. Por su tremendo esfuerzo que ellos han hecho por los últimos 10 años, identificando los problemas que pasamos como comunidad en la esquina, siendo víctimas de robo de salario, siendo estafado, no teniendo acceso a las licencias de conducir, no teniendo el acceso al idioma, a nuestro idioma. Si nos quitan nuestro idioma, ¿cómo nos podemos expresar? Sin nuestros líderes de la comunidad, ninguno de esos proyectos que nosotros hemos hecho se ha podido lograr. Y les quiero dar las gracias a ellos, porque sin ellos nosotros no podíamos hacer nuestro esfuerzo como se debe de ser. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight, for celebrating our 10-year anniversary. And I have the special honor to speak on La Directiva. They're the anchor of our organization. La Directiva is our community leaders, the ones that thrive, push us into the right directions, the one that made everything happen, why we are here today. Without our community leaders, we would not know what issues they are facing, from being victims to wage slip at the corner, from having no access to skills training classes, no access to driving access, no access to language justice. If we cannot express ourselves in our own language, how could we fight for what we're feeling, for what we deserve? Without our community leaders, none of the projects would have been accomplished. And it's with a great honor that I want to call Jerónimo to come forward and accept this award. Y con gran honor quiero darle la bienvenida a Jerónimo para que él pueda aceptar este premio. Gracias.
Mi nombre es Jerónimo Ramírez y es un gusto saludarles esta noche.
My name is Jerónimo Ramírez, and it's an honor to say hello to you.
Este es un momento de alegría y tristeza.
This is a moment of happiness and sadness.
Mientras mi trabajo y de mis compañeros son reconocidos, decenas y cientos de mis hermanos y hermanas de los pueblos originarios de este continente mueren por el COVID, por la indiferencia de los gobiernos y por el desplazamiento.
And I'm happy to accept this word, but it's also very sad because thousands of my brothers and sisters, indigenous, have died because of COVID. We have been misplaced.
Es lamentable, no solo el COVID afecta a los pueblos originarios, también somos desplazados desde nuestro territorio o somos asesinados por luchar por nuestras tierras, por nuestra madre naturaleza y por nuestra identidad.
It's not only COVID-19 that is hitting hard our indigenous communities. It's also us being driven out, us being displaced for fighting for Mother Earth, for fighting for our territories, for fighting what is right.
Estoy alegre porque mi trabajo y el trabajo de mis compañeros es reconocido esta noche.
I'm happy tonight because our hard work of my colleagues are being recognized tonight.
Pero estoy triste y lamento siempre saber que decenas y cientos de mis hermanos mueren en este continente.
But I'm also saddened knowing that dozens, thousands of my brothers and sisters keep dying here on this continent.
Y quiero pedirles que pongamos la mano en el corazón un momento en homenaje a quienes han muerto por el COVID y a quienes siguen siendo muertos, asesinados por ser defensor de los derechos humanos.
And I would ask everyone to put their hand over their heart in recognition of everyone who have died because of COVID, for all those who have died fighting for human rights, for all those who have been displaced.
Han sido más de 500 años de desalojo, de desplazamiento, de genocidio y masacre.
It's been over 500 years of displacement, genocide, killings.
Y hoy en este tiempo del COVID explotó más nuestro dolor.
And now, under COVID-19, our hearts are even more hurtful.
Pero nuestra enseñanza ancestral ha sido la resistencia, ha sido la esperanza y nuestra fe es sobrevivir, es luchar y vivir.
But our ancestral teachings teach us to continue, to endure, to fight.
Gracias a todos a quienes nos han escuchado, a quienes nos han extendido su hermandad, nuestro agradecimiento en nombre de los pueblos originarios.
And thank you everyone for tuning. And on behalf of the indigenous community, we want to say thank you.
Y gracias a los líderes a quienes han trabajado arduamente para ayudar a las familias que están en casa sin comida, que están olvidados por el gobierno, muriendo en casa, a quienes han ayudado con comida y medicina a nuestros hermanos y hermanas de los pueblos originarios de este continente. Muchas gracias.
We want to thank those leaders. We want to thank those leaders that have helped and supported our community with food, with rental assistance. We want to thank those who have not forgotten about us. Once again, thank you.
Y gracias a mis compañeros a quienes hemos trabajado en esta área por nuestra comunidad, por nuestros hermanos y hermanas. Muchas gracias a todos.
And thank you for my colleagues for us fighting and ensuring that our community is not left behind. Thank you.
You know, as everything that's been going on, I think what was said tonight is really, there's a couple things I'd really like to highlight. One, people of color, immigrants, indigenous people have been disproportionately hurt by the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, more so than ever, we need to support organizations that are lifting up those most hard hit by this pandemic. I want to encourage you one more time, if you're able to, make a donation to the Centerville Immigration Forum. Every donation counts and will go directly to someone who's in need. And the programs and services provided by the Centerville Immigration Forum will continue to uplift and create self-sufficiency for the people here in the community. Now, I'd like to get to transition to the introduction for the next award, which will be Nana Maria Teresa.
Con volver de como jalo y lo consala. Muy buenas noches a cada uno de los que están presentes.
Good evening to those of you who are present.
Estoy muy emocionada de estar un momento con ustedes esta noche.
I am very pleased to spend some time with you this evening.
Recibe este saludo desde aquí de la tierra del sagrado maíz, que es la comida del pueblo maya.
To say these words and greetings from the land of the sacred corn, which is the land of the Maya.
También el día de hoy es el día del viento, que es la respiración y la vida que nos ha dado el Creador y Formador.
And today is the day of the wind, which we remember is what the Creator has given us to inspire life.
El viento también ha sido parte de la vida que ha desplazado el pensamiento, también el dolor del pueblo maya que hemos sido desplazados desde muchos años.
The wind is also the energy of the thinking of the displacement, the disbursement of the Maya, we who have been displaced for many, many years from our ancestral lands.
Recibe un saludo a los miembros de este comité de foro de migrantes de Centreville en Virginia.
And a greeting to the members of the Centerville Immigration Forum in Virginia.
Un agradecimiento a ellos que han dado ese reconocimiento al trabajo de la Liga Maya Internacional.
We give our thanks to the Immigration Forum for giving the International Mayan League this recognition.
El trabajo de la Liga Maya empezó en 1990 aquí en Estados Unidos y es una lucha grande para dar a conocer el sufrimiento, pero también la gran sabiduría y la cultura que siempre llevamos dentro del corazón, también para dar a conocer a otros países.
The work of the Maya League began in 1990, and it has been a long journey to share the struggle and the survival and the knowledge and the strength and the resilience of the Maya people, a work that continues today.
También quiero agradecer a los que han apoyado el trabajo durante nuestra trayectoria de muchos años de lucha, y un agradecimiento también a los jóvenes ahora que emprenden también en este camino de lucha, también de sabiduría.
I want to also give a thank you to all who have helped us for so many years, as well as those that are now integrating into this work and the leadership, especially the young people who are part of this process and now beginning their own journey of work.
Es un honor para mí, en nombre del pueblo maya, en nombre de Guatemala acá, y también de los que están desplazados en Estados Unidos y de otros países. Aquí le dejo la presentación del pueblo, el trabajo de la Liga Maya Internacional.
And it is an honor for me as and of the Maya people of Ishimuleo and of the world, really, this recognition of the International Mayan League. And we give you this thanks again. And now we want to share some of the work of the Maya League in the video.
The violent period of the 1970s and 80s were some of the worst years of the war and genocide in Ishimuleo, in what is now known as Guatemala, and led to the forced displacement of 1.5 million people and the killing and disappearance of over 200,000 people, mostly indigenous Maya. Many who fled were escaping the US-sponsored nightmare that descended over Ishimuleo, particularly in the Western Highlands. It was also during this time of forced migration and war that there was organizing in the United States in response to these atrocities through the sanctuary movement. A sanctuary was established by the monks of the Western Priory in Vermont for a Maya Mam family, the Ishkot. The Ishkot family proceeded to denounce the atrocities in Guatemala. As part of the process to seek justice, they helped found the International Mayan League in 1991 to support Maya refugees. The Maya League was created by both Maya and non-Maya allies from the sanctuary movement and had a sister organization in Costa Rica, which is now found back in Guatemala. During the early years of the Maya League, the main goals were to unite Maya people living in forced displacement and to raise the international community's awareness of the socioeconomic, political, human rights, and culture situation faced by the Maya inside and outside of Ishimuleo. Additionally, it was to create solidarity and accompaniment. However, after the signing of the peace accords in 1996, its work with the Maya in Guatemala was to help with post-war rebuilding and advancing indigenous people's human rights, particularly of the Maya people and Maya women. The Maya League helped found the Association of Maya Mom Midwives in Quetzaltenango, whose purpose was to be a space for Maya midwives to practice the use of traditional medicines and cosmovision of the Maya during pregnancy and childbirth. Additionally, it was to have a community space to meet the needs of the Mum people and for organizing to advance indigenous human rights. From 2012 to 2016, the Maya League moved its office to Washington, D.C. and elected its first woman executive director, Juanita Cabrera Lopez. The Mayan League established a Maya Community Council and organized 2 large-scale conferences in Mexico and Guatemala focused on land rights and transnational corporations. With the change of the administration, efforts of the Maya League centered on defending the human rights of indigenous peoples of the diaspora facing inhumane immigration policies under the Trump administration and raising awareness of the deaths of Maya children under the custody of the U.S. government and addressing indigenous language justice issues. With COVID-19, our work has focused on mutual aid efforts, developing Indigenous language resources and videos, and elevating the invisible stories of our peoples and communities. Our collective work is Indigenous-led, community-driven, and grassroots. Our team is diverse, including Maya and non-Indigenous allies. We work to advance the human rights of Indigenous peoples of the diaspora while educating on root drivers of forced migration. We thank you for joining with us all of these years, and we look forward to more years of work in community and solidarity for the benefit of Mother Earth and our future generations.
My name is Juanita. I'm from the Mayaman people. Chonte, gracias, thank you.
Mi nombre es Jerónimo Ramírez, soy de la nación Maya Ixil. Gracias.
In Alejandro in Comol, Atenam. Mi nombre es Alejandro Santiago, soy de la nación Maya Ixil.
Thank you so much, everyone, for those amazing and inspiring words in the video that was shown as well. Now I'd like to call Jerry Foltz to introduce the next recipient of tonight's award.
It is my honor to introduce to you Dr. Al Fuertes. He is the Associate Professor at George Mason University in Fairfax City, Virginia, in the School of Integrative Studies. Dr. Fuertes specializes in many things, including global education, anti-human trafficking, and trauma healing. Dr. Fuertes was ordained by the United Church of Christ in the Philippines and has had full standing in the United States in the United Church of Christ. For more than a decade, he has served Wellspring United Church of Christ in Centerville, Virginia, as a part-time pastor. Because of his abilities in conflict transformation, he readily volunteered to manage the first meetings of our Centerville Immigration Forum. We met monthly in churches, the library, and the Sully Government Center. We knew we were in good hands when one person stood up and angrily asked Al if he was illegal. Al was not reactive, but calmly explained his resident status. He has since obtained his American citizenship. As Al facilitated the sharing by people of all persuasions, the monthly forum gatherings took on a positive learning of community resources, experiences, and questions by all participants. Thanks to the wise abilities of Dr. Fuertes, the Centerville Immigration Forum was launched with the support of a variety of local churches and energetic volunteers that continue to this day. Since that time, over 10 years ago, Al has continued to lend support to our efforts to empower and honor our neighbors from many countries, including our own, as they seek to live here and thrive. Al has taught us how to engage people with whom we might disagree, to be kind and considerate and appreciative of every person. It is fitting that we honor Dr. Fuertes this evening.
Good evening. The year was 2008. The political climate around Northern Virginia in particular was toxic, especially on matters related to immigration issues. There were more shouting and yelling at each other than listening on issues that mattered to us the most. As politicians, including privileged citizens and stakeholders, argued and debated the so-called legality of the immigration issue, which many considered to be the problem, the actual immigrant communities, particularly the Latino, Latina, Hispanic populations, continued to be disenfranchised, demonized, and looked down upon by the mainstream society, including the media. In this context, two questions came to mind during that time. First, what exactly are the local and ordinary people think about this issue, particularly the whole idea of documentation or the absence thereof? How do people feel about this whole thing? Second, I remember asking myself, what is the right thing to do in this context? I knew deep within that I had a moral responsibility to uphold. My faith compelled me to do something about the situation, given my limitations. And I believe that there were many other good and responsible citizens, particularly within Northern Virginia area, who also wanted to do the right thing. but didn't know how to proceed in ways that were collective and collaborative. It was when I proposed to Wellspring United Church of Christ, particularly Alice and Jerry Foltz, the idea of providing the community a public space whereby everyone who is passionate and interested in making their voices be heard could come together, regardless of where they stood in the political spectrum, and that I will facilitate the process until we were ready to move forward. And so public fora were held, and as Jerry mentioned earlier, once a month. But in between, there were also meetings among core groups. The main goal was simply to have a public space where everyone could make sense of what was happening. There were no long-term goals other than let us come together as residents of Northern Virginia, particularly Centerville, and talk with each other. Conversations were extremely difficult as issues raised and presented were contentious. People with extreme and moderate views were present, including bystanders who just wanted to listen and perhaps curious about what was going to happen. Politicians were present, media folks were there. At times, there were more shouting and yelling than listening. In the process, after a few months of public fora, we realized that there were actually common threads or common issues that we could hold on to as we move forward. Such common threads were no longer about partisan politics, whether you are a Democrat or a Republican or a Libertarian or somewhere in between. Rather, they were about people's common values and interests, which actually transcended political partisanship boundaries. This was when we as organizers became more intentional in shaping the direction of the ongoing public conversations. Many remained until the CIF was finally formed, while others left. Since then, George Mason University continues to partner with CIF through the Centerville Labor Resource Center in various ways, particularly in having workers from the center come over to George Mason to educate Mason students about immigration issues and the sharing of the personal narratives, which many of our students find extremely enlightening and at the same time inspiring. Mason students also work with the center, either as interns or volunteer workers. In fact, one class that I teach at Mason called Immigration Issues in Northern Virginia is basically designed as an experiential learning course where students learn and work with the Center on Wage Theft, related issues, and advocacy. So some of the insights that I learned in this whole experience, being part of the formation of CIF, was that the creation of CIF and eventually the Centerville Labor Resource Center was a grassroots initiative. How CIF evolved is organic. It's based on people's felt and expressed needs. It did not come from the powers that be or from a top-down approach. The creation of CIF was not an imposition, but rather it grew out of a vision of a just and moral society grounded on reality. Second, because it is grassroots and operates in the spirit of partnership and collaboration between community and among community and government leaders, more so residents representing various political affiliations, most likely CIF will thrive, regardless of adversity and challenges that she may face along the way, with our individual and collective support in various ways possible. Third, let our common vision of a just and moral society, open, inclusive, and welcoming, continue to inspire, empower, and energize us. And fourth, let us always do what we believe is the right thing, even if the rest of the world would say no. I am humbled and deeply honored by this award, so thank you, Centerville Immigration Forum. I share and offer this recognition to many others who have helped establish the CIF and who support to its vision and mission continues until today, and even tomorrow and forever. Blessings, everyone.
I'm happy to introduce Edgar Aranda-Yanoc. He began his professional career as a lawyer in his home city of Fuertes, Peru. But Virginia is fortunate that in 2002, he decided to come to the United States. And about 5 years later, he began a career as a community organizer for the Legal Aid Justice Center. In this position, he worked in both Annandale and Coolmore and across Virginia as the founder and organizer of the Virginia Coalition of Latino Organizations. And he was the leader of Drive Virginia Forward, which was mentioned earlier this evening, opening up licensing for immigrant drivers. His work through these years sowed the seeds and nurtured the roots that the new Virginia legislature has brought to fruit. And this changed treatment of immigrants in the Commonwealth. There's still more to be done, but they've done a lot of it because of the good work of Edgar. Thank you, Edgar. In 2008, Edgar agreed to come to one of the first organizing meetings in Centerville, and he became a volunteer organizer as we gathered to make plans to strengthen the voices of the men who stood on the corner to wait for work. Edgar reminded me this week that he was invited to that first meeting by Teodora Lopez, who is now at home in Neba, recovering from COVID-19. So our best wishes for Teo. Special thanks also to Edgar's wife, Christina, and his daughter, Wandy, who shared him with so many people during these years. The Centerville community and communities across Virginia knew and know today that Edgar listens, he tells the truth, and he cares. Edgar is a CIF founder, and it's great to recognize him on our 10th anniversary. Thank you.
So Alice, thank you very much for your kind introduction. You know how much I admire your work as well as Jerry Foltz. So today, this is an honor to be with you all to receive this recognition for my social work with the community. I want to dedicate this award to, of course, to my immigrant community. I also want to dedicate this award to my friend back in time that we began working towards social justice, Tim Freilich, Dan Choi, my colleagues at the Legal Aid Justice Center, and allies that we have been working with different coalitions, Basir, Bacolao. And also, I want to dedicate this award to my family in Peru and my family here, Christina, Wandy, and my in-laws. What I want to say here is it has been a long journey for me. 13 years walking together. And it is unbelievable. When I was thinking about the words that I am going to share with you, I thought about how I began in 2007 and how I became a strong advocate. And I began precisely together with Centreville Immigration Forum. It was I was inspired how Alice called for meetings, and that's when I mentioned this to Alice about Teodoro. He was the first day laborer, the first worker who joined this meeting, these wonderful meetings. And then he said, and in that meeting, at the end of the meeting, he said, "Are they really want to help us?" It was a question because he already has been cheated by his employer, and also he didn't speak English. He was an immigrant. He was by himself, in all these issues. And then suddenly there are American citizens who wants to help him, and that's how Immigration Forum become, I would say, one of the inspiration for many people. And yeah, now what I can say is folks in Immigration Forum got together and they began to organize and to do something special in Virginia. So, and also for me to get involved in this, it was totally part of my life. Also, there is another case that I remember when I came to one of the meetings. Once I was in the meeting, I got inspired and I said, I need to come every time here. And then I began to come to the corner in the library. So what happened in the library, I met another person who was totally, he didn't believe what is going on. And also he shared one story. He said that he was cheated by his employer, and then he took him to the bank after working for 1 week, working hard. And then what happened is this employer didn't want to pay him. It just took it to the bank and then left him in the bank. And then he ran away and never see him again. So this worker didn't have money, didn't have phone, and didn't know how to come back to his home. But somehow he managed to come back home. But it was so frustrating for him. And then when I talked with him, it was I was thinking, so we need definitely to help our community. And that's how I become very, very strong advocate and work with Centreville Immigration Forum. As we have sad moments, we also have very, I would say, these happy days, happy experiences. For instance, when we work together to accomplish the driver license for undocumented immigrants. It was one of the most wonderful times because the community got together, the community, all of us worked together and we accomplished. So I recognize that because also Jonathan Cano, who is there, very young, very energetic, who got all the, who is admired by the members of the La Directiva, by members of the community. So we work together to accomplish that. It has been a long, long struggle, but I think we are moving forward towards something different. And also, I would like to say here that, so in this process, the first time that I learned about the work of Alice, Jerry, and other social justice in Centerville was when I participate. This is what I mentioned. So I would like to conclude my presentation saying this. I admire the work that Centreville Immigration Forum is doing, the commitment, and also how that's inspired to many people to get involved. And as we work for immigration reform in 2013, I'm sure we will continue or this work in 2021, and we definitely need to accomplish immigration reform. That's the hope that I have, and that's something that I am going to be fighting with you guys. And once again, thank you very much for this recognition, and thank you for all what you do.
Muchas gracias a todos que han recibido un honor hoy día. Gracias por todo lo que hacen para asegurar que nosotros estamos en la lucha para la justicia. Thank you so much to everyone who's been honored tonight, and thank you for being in the fight to ensure that we're fighting for justice. Now I'd like to welcome Lisa Johnson Firth, a board member of the Centerville Immigration Forum, to speak.
Good evening. Thank you for being with us tonight. I've been honored to serve as a board member for the Centerville Immigration Forum. I've been with this organization for the past 10 years. It was born in a time of great stress and transition for immigrants when there was a lot of crackdown going on in Virginia, racial profiling, immigrants were feeling unwelcome. And during that time, this center was a light and a community builder rather than being part of the divisiveness. It continues to be that light, even in another time of great transition and stress that we all find ourselves. During this time, the Centerville Immigration Forum and the Centerville Labor Resource Center is providing an enormous service to our community through many different ways. They are educating their workers, they're educating them through Know Your Rights presentations, through skills building, computer skills, resume building. They have a women's empowerment project they've recently got funding for that they'll be relaunching this program. They've been extremely active on policy issues. They were one of the organizations that helped get our new privilege card or driver's license for immigrants that we've been fighting for years. So starting in January, you can get your privilege card to begin driving in Virginia, regardless of your immigration status. They've been standing for justice, especially for workers' rights. They've recovered over $30,000 in back wages since 2015. And they now have a program that's been going on for a little while where they're accompanying immigrants to important appointments, such as their court hearings, USCIS interviews, medical appointments, appointments for children in their school. When we're empowering the workers that are part of this great organization, we're empowering our entire community. And nothing could be more important than that at this moment in time, when our country needs to come together regardless of race, national origin, gender, or your political views. So I would encourage you to support this great organization as I have. If you need support through workers, we have great painters, laborers, people who know landscaping, carpentry. Come here first for any of those needs that can support your office building, your home, your landscaping. And also, please donate to continue the work of this great organization. We're now up to about $21,500, and we need your support even more to add to the number that we've already gotten. Thank you for being part of this evening's celebration. We're all so honored to have you and to be part of this great organization. Thank you for your continued support, and have a great night.
Thank you, Lisa, for those inspiring words and for all that you and the board of the Centerville Immigration Forum continue to do for the organization and for the community at large. Also, thank you so much to everyone who's participated, from everyone viewing from your homes, all our speakers today, all our honorees. Tonight's event is the labor of love from so many people who have been involved in making sure tonight was a success, not only in putting the event together, but ensuring that we're getting closer and closer to reaching our goals. I would encourage you to make a donation, $1, $2, $20, $200. If you have a $20,000 check, you can make that donation today too. This is something that we are always look forward to do in person, and while we're not in person together physically, we are still in person electronically and virtually, connected by a sole mission of lifting up immigrants in our community. So thank you so much for joining us tonight, and if you didn't want another reminder to vote, here's another reminder to vote. Your vote is your power, and if you can't vote, encourage your family and friends to vote. We're powerful. We can make change, just as the Centerville Immigration Forum continues to do on a daily basis. Thank you for being here tonight.